I'm Wojciech Mroz from Eurosite. I'm a project officer, Eurosite, the European Land Conservation Network. I will tell you more about our network later. We, as it was said before, we are coordinating this project that we are meeting for today. But my presentation will be to present you our other project, our initiative, that in some parts is quite similar or to this project. And what is important, we would like to find some synergies between these two projects, because some of activities can help us both in this project to implement it better. The presentation is, my presentation is on peatland and climate-related policies and restoration of natural habitat, and it is our Multi Peat project. Here are some facts about the projects. In this case, we are not leading; we are just a project partner, and our project leader is NABU, Nature and Biodiversity Conservation Union from Germany, the biggest NGO in Germany dealing with nature conservation and also with peatland conservation and climate issues. And also we are somewhere in the middle of the project, so we still can do a lot, I hope. And our project partners are also Natuurpunt and Natuurmonumenten, two other big NGOs, as one from Belgium, the other from the Netherlands. University of Galway, our let's say knowledge partner from Ireland, and two Polish partners, Klub Przyrodników and Ogólnopolskie Towarzystwo Ochrony Ptaków. So this is maybe a bit smaller, but very engaged NGOs, very important in Polish nature conservation. And some main aims of the project is, well, first to restore some degraded peatlands by reweighting in 5 project sites. But it is, I would say, rather to test some methods and of course we'll leave some restoration plots, and we'll improve some hectares of peatlands. But we would like also to test some monitoring methods of greenhouse gas emissions, and also to test and disseminate alternative land use options like paludiculture. Probably the one of the quite important part of this project that we as Eurosite are responsible for is focused on policy networking and exchange of knowledge, and that's why I'm here today. So our role in the project is connected mainly with development of national analysis and recommendations for common agricultural policy and water framework directive. So we created the European Peatland Policy Working Group. We are editing European Peatland Policy newsletter, and in this both quite important policies. First, Common Agricultural Policy and Water Framework Directive, we are trying to develop some recommendations and to find a way how we could improve, or we can try to at least show to the decision and policymakers what might be needed to make it better. And of course, we are responsible for some communication activities. Our network, it is about more than 80 members from almost all countries. There are both governmental and non-governmental organizations, and also individual members. And our secretariat is based in the Netherlands, in Tilburg. And we are working communication, biodiversity conservation projects like LIFE, Interact, Horizon, and others, also on private land conservation, ecosystem restoration, in Natura 2000 management and monitoring, and other projects as well. Our European peatland policy working group was created to facilitate the alignment of all relevant policies. And of course, first we are focusing on our 5 project countries, but our idea is to extend the working group after the project for all European countries and create an important group that might influence European policy, thinking about peatland restoration and management. We already had 9 meetings, and as you can see, first we are focusing rather on formation of the group, but later we moved to common agricultural policy analysis, to water framework the directive, and now we are focusing on situation of peatland policies in different countries. We started from Ireland, and our last meeting in March was focused on Poland, and some of the results of this meeting I would like to present today. And the next one will be focused on Germany, and I hope that sometime we'll have also a meeting connected with the situation in Hungary. Now we will turn back to the site, because all we are saying about very general policy approaches, whatever, but we start from restoration, from conservation on ground. And one of these project sites is located in Poland, in southern Poland, on the border with Slovakia. We call this area Torfowiska Orawsko-Nowotarskie. And it is a Natura 2000 site for both habitats and bird directives. It's not national park, it's not a nature reserve. Part of it is protected as nature reserves, but the majority of the area is still private. But this cover project, it is a public site owned by local commune. And this is this site. It is about more than 8,000 hectares, and it is for protection of 26 species from both nature and 14 habitat types. For some people that are interested, because I'm botanist, so later we can talk more about vegetation of this site if you are interested. But what is the most important? Oh, can I show something? Oh. It is connected with this, let's say, 4 or 5 habitat types, with 7 at the beginning, and the most important, of course, are active raised bogs, but also alkaline fence, transition mines, and quaking bogs. But it is the biggest site for conservation of active raised bogs in southern Poland and in Polish Carpathians. And thinking about species, of course, there's a number of species. As I said, it is for bird directive, so it is bird site. So there are a lot of them, but the most important is of course black grouse, tetraotetrix. It is one of most important sites for the species in Poland. The population is decreasing, so it is very important to protect the species. On this picture, you see satellite image of the site. Oh, what is it? Oh, the biggest raised bog is here, and it is partly excavated for last decades, but half of this biggest bog is still in very good conservation status. But our project site is located here. It is, let's say, partly degraded, but it is still raised bog. And this is the border with Slovakia. But as you can see, this ownership pattern, it is very scattered. So there are plenty of minor pieces of land and thousands of different owners around. And it is protected as Natura 2000 sites in these borders. And you can see that bog that is covered by the project. So this is a kind of buffer zone. and it was, let's say, excavated here and there, and then you can see raised bog up there. And the site are implemented by our Polish partners, Klub Przyrodników and Polish Society for the Protection of Birds. And they aim to improve hydrological conditions of this bog, to modify the drainage system, former drainage system, and think of the Scots pine stands on the bog that is, as you can see, overgrowing the bog, and also some activities focused on bog vegetation and GHG monitoring in the site, also some testing some different methods. And here you can see it closer. So this is the part when this picture was taken, but you can see drainage system here and here. So it's quite dry and overgrown by moss, Scots pine, but it is still there. So in general, the deposit of peat in some parts of this box is even something like 6, 7, or even 8 meters. So it's a plenty of carbon and CO2 stored down. And just to imagine that the process of development of such something like 7,000 or 8,000 years. So every 1,000 years you can have 1 meter more. So it is really slow process, thinking about the formation of such peatland. And also thinking about the structure, here you can see ownership structure around, but this particular part is public, but some other bogs that are not covered by the project are also cut into pieces, exactly like in this meadows around. And also to give you a picture of some other activities in this site not connected with the project, for example, some small wooden dams on ditches created from this Scots pine wood taken from the bog. So also using local material, it is very efficient, and saying the truth, very cheap. Here you can see some results of cutting trees, because in peatland conservation, it is very important that you are not just blocking ditches, but you have to remove Scots pine, not just because it is overgrowing it, but also because of evapotranspiration. So this transpiration through leaves. And if you stop these two processes by removal of Scots pine and blocking ditches, then you can have really successful restoration. And in some cases, if it's not possible to cut some trees, or it might be quite dangerous for vegetation, in some areas it was used also, we call it debarking of pine trees, just to stop evapotranspiration. So we don't need, as a matter of fact, to remove this wood, because it is degrading very slowly. But sometimes, if it's not possible, or it might have some impact on vegetation, it's better just to remove the bark. And in some other areas, you can see in some areas that the access is not that easy. You have to remove manually scrap. Or you can use some very simple methods to block ditches. Not always you need a kind of very complicated system of dams, etc. But you just need to put some grass to block the ditch. It is very cheap and effective. And surrounding alkaline fence or wet meadows are also overgrowing, and you need to protect it by mowing. And in some cases, you have to mow it still manually, because it's not possible to use machinery. And just a final example of some restoration works, like ex situ conservation of rare plants. Before we go to climate goals and some bigger numbers, it is very important to remember that we start from this tiny management. And in some cases, it's not a matter of huge areas, but of sometimes of some some small patches very important for some species. And here you can see planting of this species on some box. And now coming back to the policy. All we are talking about well-maintained or not well, but so sometimes, let's say, maintained peatlands. It's about more than 200,000 hectares. And in good conservation status, probably, I don't know, 10 or 20% of this is still remained as a very good, for example, active raised bog. But the big number is connected with drain peatlands. So in case of Poland, as you can see on the map, it's more than 1 million hectares. So it is really a lot of them. And if we estimate the emissions from Polish drain peatlands, it is more than 35 megatons of CO2 equivalent. So it is 10% of all reported GHG emissions and more than all emissions connected with agriculture. These are some numbers prepared in some studies some years ago. And grasslands on peatland, on drain peat, it is about, let's say, 17 tons of CO2. Estimation is 22 megatons. Arable land on drain peatlands, it is again 7 million tons, and also we can mention forest, but it is just 3 megatons, and some peat extraction sites, which from the conservation point of view are very important because they extract sometimes very valuable peatlands. But thinking about the area, it's not that much. And current challenges of peatland policies in Poland, well, the main act connected with peatland and conservation act on age conservation, basic legislation in Poland. But it is focused on those peatlands that which harbor protected species and habits. And some peatlands can be also assigned as ecological use land, a kind of form that is not a reserve, not a national park, but still might be important on a smaller scale. I see that time is running, so I will try to make it quick. And of course in national parks and nature reserve. But this, as you see, these big numbers connected with drain peatlands, so probably the most important policy, and that's why we focus on that in Multi Peat project. It is common agriculture policy. And there are some payments like 60 euro per year on for meadow habitats flooded. But for example, peatlands are protected from plugging only from 2026 if they won't change it. And as a matter of fact, there's no re-wetting and very good schemes, for example, for parodiculture in our common agricultural policy. And in 2022, there was created a strategy, not implemented yet because of political situation, but now we hope that it might be implemented soon. The goal for the strategy in Poland is to reduce peatland emissions by 30% by rewetting 300,000 hectares. It is a very ambitious goal, but well, we should try. And some main points, it is, well, first on to prohibit digging new ditches, reduce peatland extraction, introduce some legal protection on some areas, but also focus on to purchase some of the most valuable peatlands for conservation purposes, not only for public reasons, but also by NGOs. And some final numbers about common agricultural policy. So in total, we've got 80 million of hectares of agricultural land, 3 million of that it is about permanent grasslands, so thinking about rewetting of 0.3 million hectares of peatland, it is something like 10% of permanent grasslands in Poland. So very, very, very ambitious goal. And thinking about common agricultural policy, we are always thinking about this good agricultural and environmental conditions rules, so called shortly GAEC. But there's a very huge danger that in general, this GAEC too, for appropriate protection of wetland and peatland was already delayed for 2025, but there's a danger that there be no GAECs at all, and at least not this one. So there are some dangers thinking about new approach to common agricultural policy. And there are some eco schemes. So also under these eco schemes, it is planned to cover with payment some permanent grasslands. And there are some agri-environmental measures, but also for mostly focused on some protected species, and it is not that huge area that we might need. So that would be the end. And just to mention that we've got a project website, multipeat.org. You can find some more information there. And also together with other two projects, Life Peat Carbon and Peat Pulse for Life, we just created, we call it the Peatland Pulse, so kind of a newsletter that will cover all topics connected with peatland policies in Europe. You can register to the newsletter, as you can see it there. And I think that's it, because there's not a lot of time, and so you can also have a look on our website. And I'm looking forward for some interesting discussions today about how we can find some synergies between this project, and also thinking about the situation in Poland and Hungary and Germany. We can definitely find some common features in the situations. Thanks a lot for your attention, and have a nice meeting today. Thanks.
Köszönöm szépen Elizának a projekt rövid bemutatását, amely kicsit felvezetésként szolgál a további előadásokhoz. A következő előadásban Wojciech Mroz használni példákat, mind a tőzeglápokkal kapcsolatos szakpolitikák, mind a lápok helyreállítása kapcsán mondja el.